I feel like if the Valkyries just continue playing the way they do, but yeah, with a bit of added oomph, just really, understanding how far ahead they actually are when they do get those leads and just really going hard on transitioning them. Don't let them have heralds. Don't let them have anything. Just fight them off the map. Just take it all, baby. Take it all.
Okay, and the Champion Select is underway. The first ban phase is over. BDS Valkyries ban Talia, Belveth, and Irelia, while French Bees banned... Is that an Aatrox? Please
yes, Aatrox as Ziggs.
Okay, thank you so much. And the priority is to the mid lane, to the Syndra. And on the other side, we have a Cassio and Ashe. Okay.
I like it. I like it a lot. I'm not going to lie to you. Like the Syndra pickup, we've seen it today. We've seen how strong it can be. I'm by no means like speculating what this pick is going to do. I know what this pick is going to do. But Cassiopeia, one that we don't see very often. And then it is a popular pick for Shah. So interesting that Lilith is going to be the one to pick this one up. Ashe also, I'm a big fan of Ashe. I think they give a lot of utility. I think they give a lot of prowess and prominence. Over on the other side, though, Jarvan Jhin picked up. I'm liking the way this draft is going. A lot more fight power, a lot more potential from both teams.
So, Regulus, what do you think it's important for the French Bees to pick up here on the first pick?
I mean, they could match the jungler. They could also look to pick up the support pairing. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw another Braum come through to pair with the Ashe. Just a little Freelord comp going on there. A little bit of TFT coming in. That wouldn't surprise me, but yeah, the jungle pickup, again, wouldn't surprise me. Rek'Sai would be a very, very strong, again, coming back to a more early game-oriented pick. Rek'Sai has been somewhat nerfed. I know that they changed the way that her Q damage goes from, I think it was from bonus AD to total AD now. But I think in practice, I've seen it, the math done. It's not too much of a buff. I still feel like Rek'Sai is a very, very strong pick on this patch. And yeah, can see a lot of very early game proactivity coming through here from Ali, that's for sure.
Because this Rek'Sai has a really good potential to be around them everywhere at the same time. Now, J-Real, I know that you were slightly sad because Naafiri wasn't picked, but we do have a Rek'Sai here. We have the second ban phase also finished, and that Leona being picked for the French Bees. Draven, Corki, what are we looking at here?
I like, obviously they've got the Ashe already. I would expect it to be the Ashe Leona in the bot lane. If they want to be spicy and they want to throw like an Ashe mid lane and then throw in like a Samira, I would be down for it. But I don't know if it would be the best play necessarily. I think the Ashe does give them a lot of agency, and it does set up for the Cassiopeia to be more of the main carry. I do wonder what they're going to go for in the top side though, but I'm very happy with the VFB draft so far because it has a lot more agency. It's a lot more proactivity, and I do like it. Obviously, we're going to see C back on the Renekton. We saw how scary they can be, and that's Emilio, so I'm already pretty happy.
Okay. And the R5 is going to be Malphite, Regulus.
Yeah, so
talk me through about the idea of this composition, please.
Okay, so what I will say first is that we have what we in the business call a bit of a Jincident. Okay, this is where you lock Jhin in on the third pick, and then on 4-5 you see two big beefy tanks come in, and now Jhin is so much more useless than he was about 20 seconds ago. I don't like the Jhin Pyro at all here, but actually looking at the Bees comp, I think that they have some really strong go buttons. Obviously now they've got the Leona, they've got some dive action there, the Rek'Sai with the Malphite. Obviously they have the means to kind of control spaces with the Cass, with the Miasma, and then picks and picks and picks with the Ashe Arrow. This comp from Vitality is so much better than what we saw last game. In fact, it's probably the best comp I've seen out of them today.
Okay, that's saying a lot. J-Real, do you agree with this?
No, I'm a big fan. I'm a much bigger fan. I think that we kind of we're talking about it. I talked about it on cast when I said they kind of flip-flopped from being really early game to really late game. now we're getting the Goldilocks comp, right? We're getting the just right. They got a bit of mix of early, they got a bit of mix of late, they've got some utility, they've got some damage. I'm liking it a lot more from them, and now it's just about execution, because I don't think that they're a bad team, right? I think that would be such a mischaracterization of these players, and it's so unfair that their last game looked pretty bad, but it's just because they had no utility to do anything, and it's just like, well, of course you're going to not look that great. So I think this game, I want to see that aggression, I want to see the proactive players, I want to see the confidence, because at the end of the day, this is your go time. You know, this is where it is. It's all down the wire here. You make your stand right here, right now. You make the plays, and you see if you can pick up the win.
And you have the tools for that right now, and you have a solid composition with a much clearer idea of how to go into the game, of what to do with the champions that you have. But let's talk a little bit about the other side, about BDS Valkyries and about the tools they have. As you mentioned, Jhin, Regulus, how can it be viable to play this Jhin? How is this Jhin going to be able to play? How can BDS set up for this pick?
I mean, I feel like with Jhin here, you really just have to get him so unbelievably far ahead in lane. Otherwise, you know, you're going to get to a team fight, and yes, you know, he can help the engage with the curtain call, but when, you know, his bullets, his rounds are like, you know, little Nerf pellets going into your front line, it's just not going to work. So there's going to be so much emphasis here on BDS, just really getting that bot lane ahead, making the most of the actual range that the Milio provides to really make it difficult for this Ashe to operate. And obviously, you know, Eveluna, she's going to have to be on point. I'm expecting like a Messi-esque performance from Eveluna here, knocking away this Leona and this Rek'Sai when she comes in for the gank.
Okay, J-Real, then what do you say there are the winning conditions of BDS? What is the idea of this comp?
I want to just say, I love the fact that we've talked about Emilio, we've brought up footballers, and none of us have said Ronaldo, even though Anna's Portuguese.
Like, I just love that. Clear.
I love
Messi
that we've just not brought up Cristiano at all in any of our football references so far. But either way, what I want to say, BDS, their way to win. I think they need a lane of pain. Right? They need to go heavy with the Jhin. Jhin can beat the Ashe. Jhin can get a lead, and if Jhin is ahead, Cassiopeia, Ashe, they're gonna have big problems, right? But as Regular said, against tanks in the late game, if they're not far ahead, it's going to be problematic. But they do have some reliance on the fact that they have the Syndra as well, who can dish out the damage. And you can only build one way or the other, right? Yes, you can build a late game armor or late game MR item, but you're going to have to pick which one is your poison, right? Do you build for the Jhin? Do you build for the Syndra? And I like the BDS have come through with a lot of AD with the Renekton, the Jarvan, the Jhin, all ready to set up. And then on the flip side, you have to contest with the Syndra. So I do wonder how they're going to play this one out. I think a lot of priority around mid would be my go-to, because I think the Syndra can set up and they can cause huge problems in these late games.
We shall see what these two teams can bring up. Is this going to be the last game of today? Is it going to go to up until game 3? We shall see. So without further ado, J-Real, Regulus, take it away.
Let's go. Game number 2 of potentially the last game of the day, the last series of the day at least for sure, but maybe we go to a game 3, who knows. But it is on the chance of Vitality French Bees. Can they make BDS drop to their knees in pain? We'll have to find out very soon. But early game, Regulus, do you feel like we get any shenanigans?
I mean, there's every chance you can, but to be honest, when you have a Jarvan, you don't really care about shenanigans. You don't really have that, like, you don't have flag and drag yet. You know, the flag goes down and look, Ali's like, okay, that's nice anyways, I'm going back to my jungle now. They don't really have the tools to do anything too much level 1 on the side of BDS. So, I mean, we could have perhaps seen a little bit of early aggression come out from the Bees, but again, I just don't think either team really has an interest or has the means to make it happen at level 1.
Yeah, Lilith just matching up with Shah. And I will say, I think we talked a bit about the bot lane, how it's important, both Vicky and Stratspanda getting a lead, becoming problematic in the later stages. Personally, for me though, and I don't know if you agree, but Shah and Lilith is where I'm really looking in this game, because those two mid laners pump out major damage and can cause huge problems for either side.
Oh, absolutely. Especially considering the rest of BDS's comp is all AD, and there's a Malphite looming on the side of Vitality French Bees. You really need to get this Syndra going, especially considering that, Syndra falls behind and the entire point of the champion is kind of made mute. So, yeah, I can see a lot of early emphasis on the mid lane. But with that said, Jarvan, yes, he can be proactive, but ideally he's kind of waiting to see what this Rek'Sai does, to look for that sort of counter gank opportunity.
Yeah, counter ganks could become pretty clutch here. I'm interested to see when they get onto the map as well, because obviously Jarvan can gank level 2, isn't going to by the looks of it right now. Rek'Sai more around the level 3 mark, but are either of them going to go for a really early play, or will they just go for the full clear? It's kind of my question. And I'm also looking at maybe there could be potential for invades, but I feel like it's not necessarily the go-to, as we do see Ali starting to lurk towards this mid lane. Rek'Sai notorious for the angles that they can get on a gank, but Shah is so far back, this could be a really tricky one.
Yeah, I think...
Oh, but there's a knock-up flash, going to go forward. Good flash away from Shah, and that is an important summoner to burn early from Ali.
Flash from Ali as well. Oh, Scout of the Week coming in. But no, just leaving there. Yeah, really awkward. I think Lilith kind of telegraphed it a bit too much that the Rek'Sai was sitting there in the bush ready to go, especially as the wave was sort of pushing towards her. It would have been quite the opportune moment for the gank. So well played from Shah, just burns the flash, absolutely fine, but we could see if it comes back to bite her, as Ali could come back later.
Yeah, a bit of an interesting one there. I don't know if they wanted to dive that or not. Like, I felt like they were just kind of pressuring Chubby Daddy, forcing them from not basing, but the dive I think would have been a bit too much, so I'm glad they didn't go for it in the end. As we go back down to the bot side now, obviously Ali has made their way down there on the bot side river, but again, lane not really in a good situation for the gank. They're still quite close to their own tower, but I do like that Ali is going around the jungle, maybe looking to get a deep flank onto this bot lane gank.
Yeah, definitely. This is the kind of proactivity that we really need to see from the bees here. But the Jhin traps are very nicely placed. You're going to see anything that comes out from the other side of the wall. But if we just look, Ali, thank you, Observer, just waiting, lying. But they know. They absolutely know. Fantastic. Really good presence of mind there from Stratos Panda to be like, hang on a second. There's a Rek'Sai. They're quite creative in the way that they gank. Let's just trap that real quick. As we see some trading, more trading coming in on the top side, and a pause has come in. Good lord. Well, yes, J-Real, it's time to talk about what we've seen early.
Yeah, as in, obviously we haven't seen too much. It's only like 5 minutes, but I will say a pretty good presence of mind, as you said, from BDS, right? They've been very aware that Ali is looking for the early ganks. They need to be proactive. They need to try and get themselves on a scale, because unlike Jarvan, Rek'Sai does fall off quite a lot in those later stages, right? It becomes very difficult to flash in and knock people up. It's a very risky play style, but if they get a lead, can cause major issues for the side of BDS. So Valkyries playing very heads screwed on, very on a swivel, able to kind of find out where the Rek'Sai is lurking. It's been a really nice look. And again, if we go back to kind of how the lanes are going, we're seeing that C is picking up more and more leads once again.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is what we kind of expect from C. Very, very lane dominant player. At the same time, though, we're in the game now. Chubby's actually on the champion, where it doesn't matter so much that they fall behind. You know, this Malphite is still going to be extremely, extremely useful later on. And even if Malphite falls off, as long as the spot lane for Vitality, stay even or get ahead here, the Malphite peel is going to be so important for them winning this game.
And a bit of trading there on the bot side. Melio just gives such an advantage to your ADC. We see the trading just going the way of BDS, and I am going to wonder how much pressure they can really put on the side of Vicky, because at the moment it feels like they're the one that are in the more comfortable situation. They're starting to put up a small CS lead, and those things will start to add up. Now, obviously, junglers starting to roam around. Shah doesn't know that Ali is there, doesn't have flash either, so could be in a bit of a predicament, though. Will trade decent amount of damage back onto the Rek'Sai, gets the stun finally, and will be able to walk away. As on the bot side, he looked like Jarvan maybe went for the gank, or at least showed up, but wasn't able to be successful.
Yeah, just really sort of odd little passage of play there. The Syndra moved down, and hey, there's a Rek'Sai in my bush. Like, hello. But we can obviously see already, Ali was able to trade really efficiently with the Syndra, despite obviously being a level down at that point, and just really knock her down the peg. But we do see the lost chapters come in now for both of the mid laners, now level 6. Don't forget, about 5 minutes 30 is when you can expect to see most solo laners hit that level 6 mark, as long as they've based appropriately. And yeah, just really a lot of strength now in this mid lane. So it'll be interesting to see what this Rek'Sai does.
I feel like C might be looking for this dive. I feel like it's coming.
I feel like we're
gonna see it. There's the Dominus. There's the kill. And C is just such a dangerous laner. Another solo kill. More leads, more life, and more potential for Valkyries to win this game. But we'll see if they can kind of double up on what is being put down in that top side. As now, I do like this from Ali, being proactive, going for that dragon, but they are going to be spotted out on a ward. And I will wonder if BDS is going to play for it. But Jarvan in the top side, Ender's nowhere near being able to contest this dragon.
Yeah, as you just said, J-Real, really great proactivity here from Ali. Obviously, the kill goes down onto the Malphite, and BDS thinking, they've just lost one. But wait, the Dracon! What happened? So, great trade back there, although it did come at the cost of Chubby Daddy's life in its own weird, mystical way.
Yeah, and a 1k gold lead to see already, so we're going to have to keep tabs on that one again. Obviously, Malphite really good in those team fights, and won't be as vulnerable as Jax was, right? If Chubby Daddy doesn't have a great laning phase, they're still going to be very useful. The Unstoppable Force is always a great ultimate in a team fight, regardless of whether if you're 0-20 or if you're 20-0. So I do think that Chubby Daddy is going to be able to make plays regardless. It's just how much they can temper this storm, because we've seen what C can do when they build a heavy lead.
Yeah, I'm a little bit confused by Chubby Daddy's itemization, I can't lie. I feel like opting for the Sheen here instead of just grabbing armor components is probably, I don't think it's necessarily the play, especially when you have the Jarvan coming into your lane as well, right? I feel like a Bramble Vest here would have perhaps been good. Perhaps in the early healing reduction on the Renekton would have been quite nice, especially when it comes into later into the game and you've got the Milio there healing as well. So not too sure by the early Sheen, but alas, we will see if they're able to make it happen here.
Ooh.
As Ali's coming up top.
This is more than just Ali, though. We also have the bot lane moving up too, right? Sorry, the mid and the support really being proactive around this Herald. Now, we talked about this before, and here comes the Ash Arrow
Kobe
to land. Christora does stun up the mid laner of BDS, but it hasn't stopped the fight just yet. And in the mixer is C. Will go down, and there's the Unstoppable Force. Big knock up onto the team. Now the Solar Flare going to cause them to be locked down, and that is 3 members over to VFB. They have come ready to fight, and they collect their prize.
Oh, fantastic work there from the Bees. Across map, Ash Arrow as well, locking down the moment, just ensuring that they can't all get into the fight. Gives enough time for the team to lock down the Croc, send it back to the fountain. See you later, baby. We're going to skin you and turn you into a pair of shoes.
And we talked about the lead that Z had. That is how you stop the lead. You send people up, you cause them problems, and maybe it's a little bit of overconfidence from the Valkyries that they were so willing to fight that. The Crystal Arrow on to the Syndra, onto Shah. It just meant that they weren't ready for the fight, and then by the time they finally got there, we'll see is pretty much already dead, and it becomes a 4 versus 3.
Yep, and now 2 kills onto this Cassiopeia. Leandri's already finished. 150 gold bounty already accrued at the 9-minute 30 mark. Such a quick pickup with the tier, of course, as well. Of course, we know that Cass doesn't require boots, and I think we made the comparison the other day about, wait, if Cass doesn't need boots, why does Nami need boots? But anyways, yeah, we don't need to talk about that now. That's for the post-match discussion. But yes, really great work from the Bees here. This is exactly what we wanted to see. And
why does Melio not get soccer boots?
Yeah, true. Why is he? Yeah, like, he needs. It's turfy. He needs some. That
would be awesome if Melio had his own boots. That would be cool. But either way, back into this game. Sorry, I got into a bit of a side one there. Ali looking to go for another gank, right? And has had a pretty proactive play so far. I've been enjoying that they've been going for these ganks, and they're going to go for another one. Gets the knock up, is going to be pushed back, but there is the damage, and Lilith is just able to send them to the grave. No chance for them to save their own life there. Didn't have flash, and well, we've seen what happens when Rek'Sai gets on you. And the fact that they had the miasma as well just makes it so difficult. Herald going to be dropped. That's more gold into this Cassiopeia, who is 3-0, by the way, 1,400 ahead.
Yep, just really great work there between the mid jungle. Little trick coming in. Nah. Really great work from the mid jungle there of the bees. Just getting that miasma down, ensuring they know that Syndra doesn't have flash, so you just walk up, press W, and it's like, well, you're doomed, buddy. Just so much lockdown there with the Rek'Sai, even if it's not the hardest CC, as a combination, it's so disgusting, and so much damage comes up so quickly here. So really, really great to see the coordination here. And just, yeah, again, talking about this kind of early proactivity, which we really needed to see out of these bees. Just really, really great adjustments being made in the draft.
And mid was the goal, right? We talked about how mid lane is going to be really important for both of these teams. So far, it's a win for the side of VFB. And here comes the arrow. Tick, tick, not going to go. Slightly wide there. Good avoid from Shah. Not going to get locked down, because if they do, Lilith going to have free reign, will do a lot of damage and could even potentially pick up the kill there. So one that you're going to have to keep watching throughout the whole game. Next dragon, though, going to be spawning in 11 seconds, and it does look like another proactive play from VFB. They're starting to get ready for the objective.
Yeah, definitely, and it's nice, I guess, if you're on the side of VFB, to finally be the ones in pole position on these Drakes. Lots of pressure here, again, back on the red side. And look, TP comes in now, really asserting themselves down in this river. Is there a sweeper up on the Leona? Not quite, but creative angles into the pit. Although conversely, yeah, you see the Renekton on the top side. TP does come in, but this Renekton 50 CS ahead of the Malphite. Obviously doesn't mean a whole lot in the crater.
Kazain is going aggressive, going to try and stop them from getting into the pit, and Ender in a little bit late, going to have to flash away. Dragon secured by Ali, and now here comes more. There's the knock on the unstoppable force. The Rek'Sai is too much. And goodbye to another. That is going to be Ender put in the ground once more, and see, it's still just getting tower plates, is still going to get a lot of gold, but around the rest of the map, their team is just getting destroyed.
Yeah, there's going to be so much emphasis now on getting C ahead, just further and further ahead. But to be honest, it's already looking really, really rough for the side of BDS. With that said, really close from Ender, almost getting the flag and drag into the pit to get the secure, but alas, they were ended instead, sent back to the fountain. Gordrink is now finished on both top laner and jungler low. This kind of 1-2 punch of the Gordrinker, which we saw last game, will it be enough? I guess we have to wait and see whether the arrow will. Vicky is taking some shots right now.
Yeah.
Shah is being tested on the reflexes. This is like an aim lab sesh. What am I seeing here?
And they say, like, you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take, so the fact that they're throwing this one out on cooldown, I do respect it a lot. One day it will hit, and when it does, it's going to be problematic for Shah. So we'll see if those are going to start landing, and obviously in those team fights when you're a bit closer, I imagine it isn't going to miss. But right now, pretty strong performance from VFB at this situation, right? They are a 1k gold lead, they've got 2 dragons, they've had the first herald, they've got pressure on mid, and more importantly, they are really far ahead in some of their carry roles.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like right now BDS's comp just isn't operating in isn't doing the thing right now. A lot of the early power which BDS's comp has just hasn't really sort of materialized. You know, Jhin can be such a strong early pick. He's got the Stormrazor in now. Obviously the Syndra is kind of who you'd bet on to have the kind of upper hand in a lot of these early skirmishes, especially with the power she has with the Jarvan here, but it's just not working out for BDS. And when you look at the damage profile of this team, it's all going to come down to a Jhin who's now going to fight into 3 tanks.
That one is going to land, but it is going to be Eveluna they decide to go on. Finally, they turn on Shah, and goodbye to the Syndra. Good tanking from both Kazain and Lilith, swapping the aggro there. And they're able just to pick up another kill. Now BDS are looking to maybe turn this one back, but C bitten off a bit more than they can chew. In goes the Cactus, and though it's big turnaround! It's BDS that come out ahead. They absolutely obliterate 2 members, and now looking for the 3rd, but in goes Rek'Sai to seal his doom. And it's 3 over to BDS in what looked like such a strong position from VFB.
That was obscene! The fight was lost. You had no right to do that. I was just talking about how things weren't working for you. You're not supposed to come in and just reverse caster curse me, okay? Don't you emote flash me, okay?
And now they have a lead. They're up gold now. They're 500 ahead. Although it may not be like that for long though, because Vicky is turning on the Jets and icing out Stratus Panda. That is one slow Jin. Gonna have to flash away. Almost getting hit with the volley, but not going to be so. Not just yet, but they should turn this one into a first tower. Although saying that, opens up the curtain call and we'll remove that wave. So BDS going to hold on to that tower in the mid, but let's talk about how this all went down.
Yeah, so we see obviously Chubby Daddy, there's kind of a split focus here initially. They kind of they committed so much onto Shah, but at the same time
hold on one sec. Shah, talk about getting committed on, has been removed by 2 members in the bot side. So another kill there for VFB, but yeah, break it down. Sorry, I interrupted you there.
No. You are well within your right to go back to the play. Yeah, no, just a little bit of split focus there. So many ults were burnt. Obviously, the Slow the Flare gone. The cast ult was used as well. And obviously the Unstoppable Force. So by the time that they kind of got Shah down, Eva Luna kind of limps away with her life. There's nothing really left on the side of Vitality, and at that point, BDS can just choose the re-engage. I mean, C just had no right to live that long. Absolutely no right. I don't know if this Bramble Vest from Chubby came in after that fight, but again, I feel like this is just a case where they just needed that healing mitigation because C was taken so low.
It was there before, because I was going to mention a little bit earlier that Chubby Daddy just had an assortment of items, but right now, talking about assortment, this could be an assortment of members attacking onto Kassane. They're going to be able to pick that kill up, and it's a pick that has been done in very good timing. Now going to drop the Herald, going to get this mid tower and priority over this Infernal Drake, which is going to be one that they would definitely want to start stacking. But how are VFB going to turn this one around?
Yeah, it's getting a little bit messy for the Bees now. They had so much early tempo, but it's only taken just a couple of moments, and the entire tempo, the entire mood of this game has switched. The Herald goes down mid, the Drake going over now to BDS. They just need to calm it down a little bit.
Okay.
As the mid
I thought they were not going to
goes.
get the tower for a second there. I was a little bit like, damn, VFB losing out on a lot of fronts there, but they are going to pick that one up. They will trade it back, and now into the fight they go. Stratus Panda able to avoid the knockup, and in goes the damage. C is there, but look at Lilith picking up one for themselves and able to start walking away, but over the top, Ender is there, gets the knockup, and now Lilith in trouble, gets taken down. The dash in, the shots fired is too much, and BDS picking up another team fight win.
I mean, again, this is just another example of what I was literally just talking about, where Vitality, they're flapping right now. They just need to calm it down. They didn't need to go for the play here. They just need to go like, right, we're just going to take the L on this one. But Chubby goes so deep. There's no follow-up, and as soon as Ali comes over the wall, instant CC, completely taken down. The TP comes through from Lilith. Is able, yes, you get Eveluna, that's great, but then the flag and drag comes through from Ender, and it's just so messy from the Bees. They just need to, again, they've tightened up their comp, they just need to tighten up their gameplay a little bit. They just need to chill out as we head into this next phase of the game.
And they're still in a good position, right? I'm not going to take it away from them. I'm not going to say that they're in doom and gloom scenario. Yes, they're 1k gold down, but look at where the gold is, right? They still have a 2k gold lead on their mid laner. They have a 1k gold lead on their Ashe. So the 2 carries that you want in the late game are still very much ahead. Whereas BDS, they have their early game players up, right? 4k almost on the Renekton, 300 on the Jarvan. Like, these two, they are going to do work because they can set up the rest of the team, but they're not going to carry you in the later stages. And damn, nice steal there coming up from C. But it's a sentiment where BDS still need to put that gold into the members that are going to take them through to the later stages, because C will fall off.
Yeah, for sure. It's just playing the waiting game, really. Again, it's just a little bit of patience. In fact, it's not even so much the waiting game as Ender. Flag and drag.
A little bit deep, but it's going to be able to
themselves away. Just chilling, just, you know, sussing it out, as it were, as the recalls start to come in here, the resets start to come through as we look towards this next objective. But the arrow comes through!
Ooh, that's going to land, but nice from Eveluna there. Gets the team cleanse off, will save Shah, able to keep it moving.
But now
Emilio, such a useful support. Such a good support.
Such a good support, but Vitality now, they have the prio to move into the Baron pit. Do they have the wards? There's one ward left on Leona. There's not really much they can put down here. And no sweepers either, so the arrow does go down. It gets traded out for the Emilio, which we do love to see. That is a very, very important ult now down. Potentially if they do choose to pick a fight, but ideally here for Vitality, you kind of just want to get your reset in.
Oh, wait, see, caught out a little bit, going to be able to dash away. Yeah, I want to see Vitality start pressuring these objectives, right? They have the Petrifying Gaze. They are going to force a very risky situation for the side of BDS if they make them walk into them, because 5 members getting Petrifying Gaze is a GG fight over, especially with the Malphite. But right now, C is just going in alone. 1 versus 5, still alive though, not down, and almost lives to tell the tale. And we see a trade so far because it's just been damage pumped out from BDS. They take down 2 and they're looking for more. Now we're going to be stepping back. They're now looking for more. Stratus, Panda. Will they go for this? The Sun not going to land onto Lilith, and in goes Kassane. But against the Jhin, you are not going to be able to win that. And Lilith now caught in no man's land, just being attacked by the Syndra, by the Jhin, trying to run away. Still does have Petrifying Gaze, so can turn this one around if they do choose so. And they haven't used it. And the full shot is just too much to handle.
Oh, my bees. You just... again, I don't really know how Vicky can really go down in that fight. She had support next to her, but just ekes out, takes the 4th shot of the curtain call. And it's just so unfortunate in so many ways. The fight looked so good for the bees initially, but alas, it just turned horribly. I do hope we get a replay of that. I do want to sort of break that one down a little bit more. But then it was what happened after. The bees, they had 2 members on 20% HP and were like, yeah, we can keep going. No, just chill, it's fine, you will win. Okay, here we go. I think Chubby doesn't quite get the ult that they are looking for here, but initially it looks really bad for BDS because he goes too deep, is caught out here. The flag and drag comes through onto Vicky. Here we go, 1-2. Nice side steps from Vicky. But yeah, they just can't quite get behind their support, and then Ali is just instantly blown up. Yet again, Chubby isn't able to get that fight, and then look what happens here, 40% HP, and they choose to go back in, but never mind, we're back in the action, J-Real.
Kassane getting caught out here by the team of BDS, and they are going to pick that one up. Dragon is going to be taken pretty low, will be secured by the side of VFB, but in the Cataclysm they go! 4 members locked in, 1 makes it out, but I don't know how many more will. Lilith is going to go down, and another successful fight. BDS just find every moment that they want, and they're looking now to equalize that into a Baron. They're going up the map, they're looking to take this one, and they are gaining so much control across this game.
They can't keep getting away with it, J-Real. They should not be where they are in this game right now. It is incredible that they've been able to find these moments, but I feel like Vitality is just throwing this game away bit by bit, minute by minute, objective by objective. And although it's not doomed for them, it's definitely not looking as good as it was a few minutes ago.
Yeah, Jhin now back in the game, no longer a K down on Vicky, and the goal between Shah and Lilith is also starting to close up a little bit, piece by piece. But break it down, man. Obviously, the Cataclysm absolutely massive, getting 4 members, but then what happens next?
Yeah, stunning. I mean, Lilith gets a really nice Petrifying Gaze off, but alas, it's just not enough. As soon as you have all of those members of Renekton on top of you, you have obviously the Syndra ult coming through, the Unleashed Power coming through, just so much damage. The Scatter the Weak on top, just into such a small funnel. Cannot understate how huge that Cataclysm was from Ender. Multi-woman Cataclysm. Absolutely disgusting from the Jarvan there. Just really well played.
Super well played indeed. And I will say, Ender and C really been the heroes for the team right now. They were the ones with the lead, they were the ones to carry them through, and they've been able to make these fights true for BDS. And I will say, nice arrow to catch out them doing the Baron, but I don't know if they're going to be able to stop them here. I think it's going to have to go down to a steal, and Ali is going to run into C in their jungle, as now they turn their attention on to Chubby Daddy. The damage onto the Malphite, maybe even force them to ult away, but they ult in. They're trying to get some damage down for the team, but it doesn't matter. And now the aggression can go further. Leona stuns them up. Solar Flare will hold them back, but look at the chance that they have now to do this, Baron. 5 versus 4. VFB, how can they get back into this fight? Can they get the steal? Can they look for a team fight here? They're starting to loom around this Baron, but they've lost a lot of ultimates. They don't have the Ash Arrow. They don't have the Solar Flare, and they're starting to move closer to BDS. They're stalling, but for how long can they keep this going? Lilith, in a tricky situation, getting shot up, gets stunned, now gets a good petrifying gaze, but it's not enough, gets taken down. Another one bites the dust, and is this enough to kill off the Baron?
Yeah, it definitely looks like the Baron's going to come over, but alas, there's a TV coming, J-Real.
Kassane is going to be the target, but look at C, going to go down finally. They do trade 1 for 1 as Shah now walking away, but has to be careful. This Malphite on the chase. No ultimate though, can't get the knockup, but in comes Rek'Sai leaping forward. But look at the ADC, they've left them behind. They're in the Cataclysm and they're going to go down. It's 3 versus 2 now, and Stratus Panda stepping forward, not afraid, aware that they are in control. And again, BDS win another team fight, but a good delay from VFB on that Baron.
Yeah, I mean, they do prevent the Baron from going down. Now look into the next Drake, which is up in a minute 30. Soul point here for VFB, but right now it doesn't look like they're in much of a position to fight. Perhaps they're just gonna be able to push it back far enough that they can actually make an objective trade here. Look, if the BDS, hey, look, you can have a shiny Baron, but no, just let us have Infernal Soul. But I don't think that's going to happen at this point. I feel like BDS is just going to try and fight now for every objective, especially because it just feels like Vicky's getting a little bit hung out to dry here. Which, considering that you have the Malphite, the Rek'Sai, and the Leona, yes, you have go buttons, but also protect your carries. Like,
it also feels a little bit like that for Lilith as well. Like, I think that there's been a lot of times where the carries have been isolated, and obviously it's tough to take these fights because Ali isn't really going to be able to peel for you too well, but Kassane is looking for the engage, but then you kind of got to decide between the Leona and the Malphite who goes in and who stays back. So I want to see them maybe coordinate that a little bit better, as we do see VFE starting to put some wards onto Baron. They're kind of checking out this objective. They must know the BDS will be forced into this dragon, so maybe they can make an objective play from that, or they could even look for a team fight here. They are very split, 5 and 4, and here comes the arrow, going to be dodged. Ultimate Revoluna preemptively used, not necessarily needed, as now VFB going to start walking away. Good ultimate to take away.
Yeah, massive ult to take away, and now VFB can move up towards this Nash. The blue ping's coming out to take towards the dragon. They really want to trade his objective. No, but the curtain call does come out now.
And they know that the Baron has been started. 6k on that HP. We see the Jarvan looming around. Is there going to be a steal? Goes in, doesn't get it though. It is going to be secured by VFB, but what will the fight ensue after? Vicky in the backline in trouble, getting absolutely destroyed by Shah. Goodbye, and goodbye to Ali as well. They're trying to make it out alive. Lilith on the run, but can they get far enough away? And on the chase, not going to be able to get the knock up on to Chubby Daddy, and 2 will leave with Baron buff empowered. But what does this open up the map for BDS? They managed to pick up multiple kills. They're now looking to push the top lane, and the dragon is theirs for the taking too.
Yeah, for sure. They're going to take this tier 2 tower here 100%. There's no way that Chubby can hold this, especially without ult. And then yeah, Jin just soloing and Drake down the bot side. But I feel like this is fine for the bees. I feel like this is kind of what they want.
I don't know if this is.
I don't know why Chubby is still staying there though. Okay, yeah, Chubby just overstaying her welcome just a little bit here. Just a shame really, because I mean, some of these Malphite engages have been so good from Chubby. She's been sort of quite hit and miss though for chunks of this series. As she's chunked out and sent back to the fountain, we see now Stratus Panda now just moving this bot wave up. And that's just another member with Baron down, like gone. And now it's what, just Lilith that remains. It's so difficult now for this VFB team. And granted, I feel like Chubby did better to run interference this time. You could see that they were really trying to peel for Lilith in this fight. But Vicky just got completely obliterated yet again. Unleashed Power just one-tapping at this 2-item Syndra.
And it's the curse of the ADC, right? You know you're playing against a Syndra, you know what is going to happen when Unleashed Power comes out. And we talked about how VFB had to play around Lilith, they have to play around Vicky, and it just feels so difficult because the dive coming out from BDS is just so strong. They get to this backline every single time, and I feel like the way to maybe change it is you either say solo player or you say the Unstoppable Force to just play for the defensive capabilities that it could have. But we haven't seen them do it so far, and right now it could be a little bit late because BDS are marching towards the base.
Oh, it's so gutting watching the way that this game has gone, J-Ro. And I don't mean to say that in a sort of, oh, you know, I really wish the bees were on kind of way, but like in the cadence of the game, where the bees they drafted really well. I feel like they just have so much, but they've just started to really just throw it away, and it's such a shame to see. With that said, the game is not over. They can still play for this soul, and then maybe even to the Elder if they can stretch it out a little bit more. You know, at some point.
Oh, Lilith going to be caught out here. Stasis is going to buy a bit of time, but is the team going to be able to get to them? It looks unlikely. There is the damage from Shah, and goodbye to the Snake as C has caught out Vicky, and it's what we talked about. Good solar flare, good Zenith Blade will hold back the Croc from getting onto this ADC, but the GA is going to give time for BDS to get into position. Stun now onto Ali, and here comes the damage.
Oh my word!
Ooh, Unleashed Power. Almost being able to pick up the Rek'Sai, but not enough, and now they turn their attention to the tier 2 tower.
But you see it time and time again, BDS, they're able to just immediately like laser focus, target lock cast, target lock Ashe every single time the player was made onto Lilith, and then 2 seconds later the Renekton's pushing towards the Ashe. Yes, C does lose the GA, but at the same time, the amount of pressure that's being generated right now by BDS is so high.
7k in the lead. 2 minutes until this next Drake. That would be Soul for VFB, but we'll see if they can make it a reality. It does feel like BDS have just found their momentum. They found their flow. They know what they need to do to get the win in these team fights, and they're making it happen every single time. And I do wonder, are VFB going to find an adaptation? Are they going to find a way to play that keeps their carry safe? Because they were able to build up Lilith, they were able to build up Vicky, but they haven't been able to give them a position where they can really utilize that power.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just look at the gold difference in the top lane. 4,500 gold. 2 items pretty much ahead on this Renekton. Once again, C is just running the show, and yes, no, Chubby is a Malphite, and at some point she is going to become an absolute menace, but for the time being, VFB, they just need to be really careful with how they pick their fights. They have such good lockdown, and we've seen it throughout this game with the Cass and Rek'Sai, with the Malphite, with the Ashe Arrow. They have so much pick potential, but they're the ones getting picked right now.
They do be getting picked a lot, but VFB, it almost feels like they're squaring up for a big team fight here. Ali in the side looking for an opening, but it's going to be quite a tricky one to find. A lot of ability to kind of get themselves out of dodge is available with the fact that Eveluna is still alive. The Meteor is such a prominent pick, especially against things like Kassane and Lilith, who can get multi-member CCs. Right now we are seeing Chubby Daddy step up, looking for an engage, but look at the spread out nature. Soul Flare going to land on Eveluna, but it's not going to be enough. And now that buys a bit of pressure over to the side of BDS. They go a little bit aggressive, and there's the Malphite ult. 3 members knocked up. Now Lilith stepping forward, trying to get into range, but doesn't manage to get the damage down. A good kite out from BDS, as we see in the back line. Ender is going aggressively onto Vicky and gets the kill. That's the solo kill in the back line, and now it is all starting to fall down. Lilith trying to run around, trying to get away from the chasing squad of BDS, but do they have what it takes to lock them down? There's the stun, there's another one, and now into stasis they go, but the members are swarming. They are forming another win, another fight, and another objective to BDS.
Oh, and it's just Ender again. The access that she has to Vicky, just going so deep and getting away with it time and time again. And for VFB right now, I just feel that opting into a 5v5 with the composition they're playing, at the gold deficit they're at the item deficit they're at, is the worst thing you can do. You do not want to be team fighting into Jhin Milio with the Renekton. This Jhin is so fed, and the Malphite just isn't tanky enough to really be able to take the hits. The Anathema's Chains has been finished now on the Malphite. I'm not entirely sure who's been put on. I'm going to assume, judging by the itemization, it's probably on the Syndra, but it's just looking really, really hard right now. And you've got to feel, I feel, for Vicky and for Lilith, because they've had such a torrid time of it this game.
And I think a big sentiment for me as well is like adaptation. We talk about it a lot of times. They have so many tools that could be used to get a pick, could be used in surprise, right? If they position themselves towards that dragon or towards the objective, make BDS to walk into them, they can get them by the element of surprise, they can get the petrifying gaze off, they can get a lot of damage off of the rip, and maybe it changes how the fight will go. If they layer that CC of the petrifying gaze, the solar flare, the unstoppable force, it gives them so much time to deal damage, but they've just not been able to do it because BDS have always been dictating the pace, they've always been dictating the fight. And we're seeing Malphite on a flank here. Maybe this is the time that it changes, but Lilith isn't in the vicinity. They are bot lane.
Yeah, I just want to say, like, we highlighted before this series started just the power of Ender and Seed together, and those two have just been just a beacon, a lighthouse even for this team, just lighting the way that they should proceed with this game. You can see it every time that Seed comes in, that she's like, you can tell she's like, right, it's time, you know, like, it's just really, really impressive to see how BDS knows the ways in which they should rally around their sort of their top lane. It's so weird nowadays to see top laners have such an impact. I mean, obviously, perhaps you looked at LPL and whatnot, but I mean, in general, the presence of the top laner is just, it's just quite profound to see, really.
Yeah, Valkyries getting it done maybe a different way to what we'd expect in the general meta. League of Legends and Ali, you've got to be careful. You cannot be overstepping here. One good team fight, I think, will close this game out. 3 dragons apiece. The next one will be for Soul, but I don't know if we even get to that point in the game. Baron buff is active, and I feel like BDS are looking to close down some towers.
Yeah, and it's really, really rough for VFP at the minute. I mean, you look at the itemization with BDS here, you look at the GAs on the Jarvan, on the Renekton, you've got the Zhonya's on the Syndra. Like, it's so hard to just lock down and murder someone quickly enough because of the stasis that their team has time to come in and then they can execute on, you know, whatever dive that they want to go for. It's just so difficult for VFP to get anything done at this point.
Solar flare used by the same. One tool we've talked about a lot. Look at the pressure. Curtain call going to come through. Ali, are they going to pull the trigger? Evaluna is in lying wait. There's the unstoppable force going to get the knock up. A good stun from Shah holds them back. And Ali now going to go underground, but the damage is not nearly enough. And look at the back of the fight. In goes C, and the tides are not turning. BDS pick up another team fight win to take themselves into the base to end this series 2-0 and to secure themselves through to tomorrow's games.
Oh, J-Real, what a turnaround from the side of BDS. Definitely feels like VFB kind of let this one go a little, but at the end, at the bitter end, we did see some signs of life. They got such a good creative flank off there with the Rek'Sai, but alas, Ender just goes, yeah, you can dive our backline, but that doesn't matter. I'm just going to go kill yours instead. And that really was just the story of this series, really. Just fantastic play from Ender here. And obviously, props to Evaluna. Some of the melee ults coming out were really clutch. And yeah, and Stratos coming back into this game, they had no right, I feel, to get as fed as they did. But they piloted the gym really well. They understood, I guess they played, and they were like, right, it doesn't matter. We're just going to make sure that gets absolutely dogged on, so that it doesn't matter that you're playing Jhin into 2 tanks, because you're just going to be so fed that it's not even going to matter. So absolutely, fair play to them, but heartbreaking.
They had a game plan. They stuck to it. they secured the bag, and they held. They didn't fumble, and it was just a really good look from them. I will say, VFB, I'm very happy they turned up. I'm very happy that they did put a lot of pressure, because there were times when BDS looked a little bit shaky. It looked like they could potentially take this game away from them, but in the end, I do think the Valkyries just a little bit cooler in their approach to the game. They weren't making any mistakes. I think maybe VFB just overstepped a little bit, and it did cost them dearly. But that is going to be all from that game. We're going to go to a short break. We're going to bring back Anna. We'll break this one down. We'll see you in a bit.